It's a memory.
Fame is so fleeting, people forget about Danny Kaye, right?
Now, what about his real name?
Like Kanofsky?
Kaminsky.
Kaminsky, right,
Okay.
right. Hello? No, 1 hour, I'm doing a documentary on Brooklyn.
Kaminsky.
Kaminsky, right.
Okay, now, who was his cousin? The same name.
I give up.
Mel Brooks.
No, okay, that's right.
So Mel Brooks is really Melvin Kaminsky, and Danny Kaye was Danny Kaminsky. And I have read that Sid Caesar and Danny Kaye did the same kind of thing in terms of the accents and the foreign voices.
Same kind of shading of slapstick, right? You're right.
But
You're right.
where they would make up words that made it
right.
sound like they were from French or Italian or whatever. Okay, Joan Rivers.
She's a very funny lady. She was my anchor lady for many, many times. I broke her into the talk show field. And I had her on one day with Gypsy Rose Lee.
Yes.
You know the name?
Yes, I do.
And I think that day I motivated them both into wanting to be talk show hosts because Joan Rivers became very close with Johnny Carson. And then when she got her own show, Johnny Carson hated her.
Hated her,
Had a long-time feud. Of course, when he died, she said one little nice thing about him.
The first 4 months I was married, this is really true, I never took my wig off. My husband had no idea that the hair he loved to touch he could take with him to the office. But now I don't dress up because he doesn't notice. Like, I right this very minute have on the new Tiger Eyes look. My husband didn't notice. I went home yesterday, got the new Tiger Eyes. They're white, they're green, they're brown, right? 3 stripes. I'm up against the piano, my husband Edgar walks in, I'm going... He called the cops.
I wasn't at all risque in those days, but he was very worried about me because I was a woman. So I would have to come up to his apartment in Delmonico, not even to rehearsal. And he would sit behind his desk, and you would do your whole act for Ed Sullivan. Now, you know how a joke works when there's a man going...
I went on the beach last weekend, everyone said, boy, she looks great in that bathing suit, skinny as a rail, but catch her neck. I caused a commotion on the beach. I was coming out of the water and people saw me walking out with a tight suit and they said, look, it's someone from TV. And a crowd gathered. They thought I was Ed Sullivan.
What is that?
That's a bad imitation. No, I didn't give autographs. No, thank you. No, I don't really look like you on the beach, I know that. You're thinner.
Icebergers, they say, and I've long admired your interview technique. You and I, we're the last of the true pioneers, right, Bruce?
There's one major difference. Everybody out there knows who you are.
Few people.
Yeah, and you've interviewed every star, comedian, singer, actor, and I've interviewed you.
This is an onsen. This is a Japanese bath.
Oh, that's why I promised the audience I was going to go naked. You remember that?
Well, Hans and I were a little embarrassed because you do undress in front of the women. This kills me. You know, Conrad, who's so dignified, you know. He looks like a poetic sheep herder, you know. Oh, there he is.
Go, baby, go!
So they rinsed him off, and he got in the tub, and he stuck there, and Hans and I had to rock him back and forth to break the suction to get him out of there. You are a fat little devil, you know that.
That's where you get 2 girls, Jack.
What about Buddy Hackett?
The funniest man in the world. But by the way, Buddy Hackett, I mean, he's gone, of course, but you didn't dare smoke cigarettes. Any cigarette smoked near Buddy Hackett, he'd get up and walk off the show. Or nobody. he dreaded. He just revolted against cigarette smoke. He was a pioneer in this.
In the whole fight.
One time I had Joe Pine on.
Yes.
With Al Cap of Lil Abner. Remember Lil Abner? What a popular. And they both had, in real life, wooden legs. They had wooden legs.
Yes, that's right.
Both had, and they got into a little argument on the air. So you know what I said? I said, gentlemen, take off your legs and fight a duel. Only Joe Franklin could do that.
But the New York version of Joe Pine was on the air at Channel 5 when I worked there.
Exactly.
His name was Alan Burke.
Alan Burke was very good. He was one of the first to really break the ice and being very open and controversial.
Yeah, very.
Hello? So, 1 hour, I'm doing a documentary, 1 hour.
Okay. Actually, here's a little story. Alan Burke, I worked on his show. My job was to bring the audience up in the elevator. That was
No
it.
kidding.
Okay. And this is 1966. And one day we're taping, and he said to me, I want you to go to the florist and get the flowers that we put on the set. And I said, it's not my job. And he said, if you don't get the flowers, I'm not taping the show. And he went to the executive producer.
This was Alan Burke?
Alan Burke.
Okay.
And the executive producer said, Bruce, you know, Alan's a baby, but he makes us a lot of money. Do me a favor and get the flowers. I said, okay. So I got the flowers. We did the show. After the show, the producer, the big shot, said, I'm sorry, Bruce, you're fired. Okay? At least 20 years later, I'm in the airport in Florida, and I run into Mrs. Alan Burke, and I tell her the story, and her face drops, and she says, I'm so sorry Alan cost you your job. And I said, no, tell Alan he was absolutely right. It was no big deal. I worked there, and go get the flowers, so what? And I said, tell him that I said that. It maybe, you know, show him I finally grew up. And I said, by the way, what's Alan doing? So she says, oh, well, he's on the air 5 nights a week with a radio show here in Miami. So I said, oh. She says, but he was fired today. And that's the story.
That day, huh?
That day, you know. So. But it shows you, that's why, you know, I'm not working in television today.